5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let the games begin.
In 1987, movie audiences told the makers of RoboCop, "I'd buy that for $1," to the tune of bringing in piles of RoboCash for the studio. We all know studio executives are paragons of predictability, so of course, to serve the public trust, protect the innocent, and uphold the law, they screamed for a RoboCop sequel. So today on Movies Merica Live, due to fan requests, I present to you RoboCop 2.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
All right, hey, welcome everybody to this latest episode of Movies Merica Live. And as always, I'm your humble host, Van Ebert, also known as Movies Merica. And if things look a little bit different here, or if I sound a little bit funny, or if anything goes wrong, I'm going to blame the new platform or the new streaming platform that we're starting to use here today. So it's probably going to take me a little bit to get used to this here. We're using StreamYard in conjunction with Rumble Studio here as far as the live streaming platforms. But that's boring stuff. You guys don't care about that, right? You guys just want to hear about RoboCop 2 here on this Movies Merica Live episode, all right? Now, I know this movie is like decades old, but I'm still going to strive to keep this review spoiler-free here today because, there could be like some Gen Z, some Gen Alpha folks in here, or, maybe still some boomers, unbelievably, that have not seen RoboCop 2. Now, I'm going to believe that some people have not seen RoboCop 2 more than if someone tells me they've never seen the original RoboCop. They came out in 1987, which was a massive, massive hit. Okay. But anyway, all that to say is, I'm going to try to keep it spoiler-free here today. But again, real quick, you guys don't have to just listen to me talk talk all about RoboCop 2. You don't have to sit there. I mean, like you're sitting in a classroom, with a substitute teacher, and you're just bored, bored out of your minds because you can't do anything. It's not interactive. Well, this show, because it's live, is definitely interactive, okay? You just have to get in the live chat on either YouTube or Rumble, and let me know about what you think of RoboCop 2, maybe, even the first RoboCop, or, let me know, hey, you haven't seen RoboCop 2, you have seen it, you hate it, you love it, somewhere in between. By all means, that's what the live chat is for right there, okay? And then also, don't hog all the Movies Merica. I mean, send the link to this episode to anybody that you even remotely suspects is into movies or loves RoboCop movies or whatever, okay? And so, you got the YouTube, the YouTube link to this episode, or you got the Rumble link to this episode you can send out, whichever platform you figure that they're going to want to watch the show on. So it's completely up to you, everybody. Absolutely. So, all right. So let's get into some RoboCop 2. And real quick here, just want to remind you that this movie is not directed by Paul Verhoeven. Okay, Paul Verhoeven is the guy that directed the very first RoboCop and went on later on to direct movies like Total Recall and Basic Instinct, and then Hollow Man, Starship Troopers, but of course the pinnacle of his cinematic, filmography is, of course, Showgirls, there back in the 90s. So, and I say that in jest because, Showgirls sucked. Okay, so know that, learn that. Showgirls Not worth your time. But we're not talking about showgirls here on Movies Merica Live today. No, we are talking some RoboCop 2. So, and that goes for my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics. Get your asses in here and let's talk some RoboCop 2, okay? So RoboCop 2, since I said it wasn't directed by Paul Verhoeven, it's got a new director by the name of Irvin Kershner. And if that name sounds familiar, that's because Irvin Kershner was the director of The Empire Strikes Back, which is, for a lot of people, their favorite Star Wars movie, okay? And so, the guy's got to have some sort of, directing chops, knowing that. I was hesitating there because I'm like, he started another movie that was kind of a bigger budget movie there as well. But I can't remember what it was there. But you know what? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat and look up Irvin Kershner. Yep. I am not above cheating here with this particular thing here. And okay. So, yeah, maybe, let's see here. RoboCop 2 did that right there. So he directed Never Say Never Again. Okay, so yeah, Never Say Never Again, which was kind of like an unofficial James Bond movie. It's the only one that didn't have anything to do with the folks that typically Eon Productions, the folks that typically do all the James Bond movies. So he did Never Say Never Again and Empire Strikes Back. Okay, so he's got a couple of somewhat big credits there. Well, Empire Strikes Back is really a big credit there. But he's the director of RoboCop 2 since Paul Verhoeven didn't want to come back. He instead wanted to do this little movie called Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay? So, but again, yeah, so we've got this inevitable sequel, RoboCop 2. And the plot of it is... We've got RoboCop, we had the hard cut at the end of the first RoboCop, where he takes out, Dick Jones, and Dick Jones falls out of the skyscraper. And, the old man is, running OCP or, Omni Consumer Products is what OCP stands for right here. And, hey, we got the man of the hour here real quick. Allow me to interrupt here myself a little bit. But we've got Unfolding Joker here in the live chat on the Rumble side. And yes, he is the guest of honor for this episode because it is because of his request, I am reviewing RoboCop 2 here today. So yeah, get in here, Unfolding Joker, and yeah, like you said, let's do this shit. Yeah. And to that end, let's do this shit. You bet. So the plot of RoboCop 2 is, so obviously it's after the events of RoboCop, and you have RoboCop, living in Detroit where old Detroit is still just crawling with crime, right? Apparently, OCP's plan to clean up old Detroit so they could build Delta City right on top of old Detroit is not working. Okay, so the legacy of Clarence Boddicker, from the first RoboCop, the main villain from the first RoboCop, and his cronies there. So they basically their legacy is still alive and well in old Detroit. You've got prostitution, you've got robberies, got people busting into gun shops and stealing guns. You've got old ladies getting mugged by dudes, and then dudes getting mugged by hookers, and just a big. It basically looks like Chicago, basically, right? Or any Democrat-run big city. I mean, it just basically looks like that. It's just a big, just huge quagmire, pit of despair of crime. Okay, so and that's what we've got going on in the beginning of RoboCop. But then RoboCop shows up at the beginning of the movie to fight the crime, okay? And also it's established that RoboCop also is he's still pining for his wife because there is a portion, a piece of RoboCop who is still human. He realizes he used to be fully human. He was Alex Murphy, and now Alex Murphy, they used him to create this this crime-fighting cyborg known also as RoboCop. Okay, so and yeah, there we go. Yeah, and Folding Joker says, yeah, that bad guy kid should have got an Oscar for Best Supporting Child Bad Guy. Yeah, he's one of the guys. He's one of the characters that makes RoboCop 2 stand out because there's not too many movies where you got like some 10-year-old kid who is helping out a big crime lord, and then later on in the movie he becomes like the crime lord. He's like the head of the crime syndicate behind the drug Nuke in old Detroit. So. And the Joker. And he doesn't use his new arm cannon machine gun. What? Yeah, he's yeah. I mean, like RoboCop typically just sticks with his pistol, right? And then, but we have later on in the movie, that we have Cain, and Cain has all these different weapons, and then of course like Ed 209 in the first RoboCop had a myriad of different weapons as well. But RoboCop is just, I think he kind of wants to just stick with the pistol, kind of like he, kind of in the first one, he was he always, styled his police tactics and his gun handling after that show his kid used to like, or used to watch, or like to watch TJ Laser, if I'm remembering correctly from the first movie there. So, but anyway, so RoboCop, he's still pining for his wife. And it's causing some drama. Okay, it's causing some drama. And his wife was like, "Man, I got this RoboCop dude who used to be my husband's. He's stalking me, and it's hard for me to move on." And she comes in, and because OCP, arranges it to where she can come in and see RoboCop / Alex Murphy, and RoboCop has a little lecture given to him before his widow comes in, and he got lectured that you're a RoboCop, you're a robot now, you're a product. Okay, you can't give her a man's love, you can't provide her companionship like you used to be able to. You're a robot, you're an OCP product. Okay, you can't do it. So you need to remember you're a robot. You're not a human man. You can't be a husband to her anymore. And she comes in, and then he basically has to ghost her. Okay, it's kind of like, it's not you, it's me. All right, there we go. I think we should see other people. By that I mean you should see other people. Me, I'll just be hanging out here doing RoboCop shit. Okay, that kind of thing. So that's what goes on with that. And then we're introduced to our main bad guy named Cain, who was played by the late, great Tom Noonan. And Tom Noonan made a career playing bad guys. Like he was the bad guy in the movie Manhunter, directed by Michael Mann, and where he played the Tooth Fairy. Okay, and Will Graham is the main character in Manhunter's chasing after the Tooth Fairy. It's very Silence of the Lambs-esque because Manhunter is based off of a Thomas Harris novel called Red Dragon, just like Silence of the Lambs is based off of the Tom Harris novel The Silence of the Lambs. Okay, so all that to say, I'm kind of getting distracted. All that to say is Tom Noonan played a bad guy in that movie, and he also plays a bad guy in RoboCop 2 here, plays Cain. And Cain is the cult leader of a cult known as the Nuke cult, okay, named after his drug that he created and designed and distributes called Nuke, okay? And I'll get into Nuke later on in the movie. So, again, we've established our main bad guy here. Like in RoboCop, it was Clarence Boddicker. In this one, it's Cain, okay? And then, we're off to the races, guys. We're off to the robo races here in this movie there. So, and that's all I'm going to say about the plot of this movie here. Okay, so, and I'll tell you whether or not I think you should watch this movie a little later on here in the show. But that's the foundation of the show, and so on. That's all I'm going to go into with that here. So, and speaking of like the live chat here that I mentioned earlier, yeah, we need to get some more folks in the live chat for Unfolding Joker there on the Rumble side, and also on the YouTube side there as well. Okay, I want to see all kinds of RoboCops up in my live chat talking some RoboCop too. Okay, but yeah, fantastic here. So let's move on, shall we? Let's do it. So we got some more RoboCop 2 to talk about here. But before I do that here, let me take a drink off my brewski here. And whatever you guys are drinking, man, hoist it up. Drink loud and proud right here. So I don't know about I don't know how you drink loud, but drink proud. There you go. So let's do this. Excellent. There we go. Got to wet my whistle as we get into some more RoboCop 2. Absolutely here. So, all right. So, but every great once in a while, you'll get a second movie in a franchise that many say is better than the first. All right. Let me stress, this does not happen very often. Okay. And some famous examples of this phenomenon would be The Godfather Part 2, although I think The Godfather is better than The Godfather Part 2, but a lot of people don't. Okay, a lot of people think the second one is better than the first. I have Aliens, The Dark Knight, Top Gun Maverick. Those are some famous examples right there of the second movie being widely considered better than the first movie there. So, RoboCop 2 does not belong in that list. Sorry, Unfolding Joker. Sorry. But RoboCop 2 does not belong in that list. All right. Unfortunately, on behalf of RoboCop 2, unfortunately, it was behind the eight ball from the start when the writers of the original RoboCop, Edward Neumeier and Michael Miner, couldn't write the second one due to a writer's strike in 1988. All right. So then the people that wanted a RoboCop 2, they went to Alan Moore, and if Alan Moore's name sounds familiar, it's because he helped write Watchmen. Okay, so the Watchmen comic there, or graphic novel, however you want to say that. And then they also went to Frank Miller, and Frank Miller wrote Sin City, and he wrote a number of Batman stories, including Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One. A lot of the Batman stories like that, okay? So they were both approached about writing the screenplay for RoboCop 2. Well, Alan Moore passed on it, okay, but Frank Miller did not. Okay, matter of fact, Frank Miller not only did not pass on the screenplay, he's got an actual appearance in RoboCop 2 as a chemist in one scene there. And so Frank Miller, he basically jumped on board for RoboCop, and he gets screenplay credit alongside a screenwriter named Waylon Green, okay? And Waylon Green, if you're a big movie nerd, you know him as he's the writer of The Wild Bunch from back in the late 60s there. So now I use the word credit loosely because the screenplay and the characters aren't near as entertaining as the first RoboCop. You don't get great, slimy, but compelling characters like the aforementioned Clarence Boddicker, Dick Jones, and Bob Morton, okay? They don't bother expanding the relationship between RoboCop and his partner Lewis, once again played by Nancy Allen, okay? Because, she's stuck by RoboCop through thick and thin in the first RoboCop. And then in this one, they really don't expand on it whatsoever. It's just like, hey, here's RoboCop and his trusty partner, Lewis. And Lewis, gets on his butt about things, like, hey, RoboCop, he's dead already. Or RoboCop, wake up. We need to fight some crime. But, and not like I was expecting there to be a romance. That's disgusting. Okay, he's a robot. She's a human woman. Okay. But they didn't really expand on it. There's some way that I'm sure that Edward Neumeier and Michael Miner would have figured out a way to expand on that relationship right there. Now, they did get Peter Weller back to play the title character, likely because his movies that he did between the first RoboCop completing and then RoboCop 2, those movies called Shakedown and Leviathan, they didn't exactly go all Ed 209 and blow audiences away at the box office, all right? Now, that all being said, this is by far not the worst sequel I've ever seen. There's a lot worse, okay? And now I did kind of dig them creating the little kid criminal like me and Unfolding Joker we're talking about earlier. Now, his character's name is Hobb, okay? And I thought the little kid character was unique in a good way, even if Roger Ebert hated it, okay? It was funny, but extremely unrealistic, okay? And what I'm referring to is the scene where this little kid, Hobb, almost overpowers and kills trained adult police officer, Lewis, okay? And then you have him, have this Hobb, this little kid, and he's ordering around his fellow criminal scumbags, okay? Now, speaking of criminal scumbags, the main dirt merchant in this movie is, again, that character named Cain, who, like I said, is the creator and distributor, let me say that, try that again, distributor of the hottest new drug. No, not Ozempic. No, I'm referring, of course, to Nuke, which, when you see it in this movie, it's like in these little vials, and it basically looks like Mountain Dew Code Red, and it's probably a little less bad for you than Mountain Dew Code Red right there, okay? So, all in all, RoboCop 2 is worth, I'd say, at least one curiosity watch, but don't expect to buy it for $1 again, okay? So don't get your hopes up or anything like that. But, to its defense, it was always going to be really hard to, just try to meet the excellence, the quality levels, just created by the very first RoboCop right there, okay? All right, moving on. And let me just remind you here that there is this thing called the like button that you can click for this show, and that like button is right on down there. Okay, so click on that like button if you would be so kind, if you feel like doing that. Okay, and it costs you no money to do it, and it barely costs you any time to do it. Okay, and then while you're down there clicking buttons already, anyway, go ahead and click on the follow or subscribe button, also down there. Okay, and now don't click on it if you already have. Okay, otherwise you'll unsubscribe or unfollow, all right? And then also down there's a button called the notification bell button, also down there. So click on that if you would. And again, if you already have, don't click on it again because then you'll unnotify. And then real quick here, as I mercifully wrap up this segment right here, I just want to talk to the viewers of this episode that aren't watching live. You're watching a recording of this, okay? Well, first off, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. It means a lot. And second of all, just want to let you know that we can still communicate back and forth with each other. We're just going to have to do it via the comments section, which is also down below there. You can get in the comments section. Yeah, let me know what you think of the show. I mean, do you love it? Do you hate it? Somewhere in between. Have you seen RoboCop 2? What'd you think? Ultimately, you can comment about whatever you want, okay, on the show here. So you can definitely do that. And comment to your heart's content, and I read the comments. Okay, I'm not afraid of seeing some less than positive comments. I will just put it that way. That's for sure. Okay, so but anyway, that's all I wanted to say about the like button in the comment section, and get ready to be happy. I'm ending this segment right now. Okay, let's check things out over here and. Unfolding Joker, do the brew, absolutely there, and I'm happy to do the brew. I'm going to be really doing the brew here later on in the brew review time segment, but not quite time for that right now, not at all. Okay, so, but more RoboCop 2, because you know what, we got to give this movie its due time. All right, its due analysis. Okay, so, and one positive about RoboCop 2. Is that director Irvin Kershner does try to maintain the spirit of the first RoboCop with, the fake commercials. Remember the first one had all the fake commercials there, like Nukem, I think it was one of the fake commercials and that. And then they had a fake car commercial for the SUX 6000. SUX, get it? Sucks. Okay. And then, of course, the fake news. We had the fake news anchors, with Casey Wong and Jess Perkins. All right. And also, staying in the spirit of the first RoboCop, I loved that they got John Glover, who's an actor known for playing slime balls in the 80s and the 90s. Check him out in movies like 52 Pickup. Also, he was in the 1999 movie with Mel Gibson, Payback. Okay, he was in that playing a slime ball as well. Oh, he was also in Gremlins 2. Okay, famous in that movie, or famous for being in Gremlins 2. So they get John Glover, this slime ball character actor here to be in the Magnavolt commercial where the would-be car thief gets electrocuted / Kentucky Fried right there. I love that. I love that. Now, these are like the elements from the first one that director Paul Verhoeven used to criticize capitalism, all right, while making a movie to make tons of money for him and his family for decades to come, all thanks to an economic system called capitalism, all right? So how's that for some irony right there? Okay, so how's that for some some hypocrisy? He's making a movie to make fun of capitalism, yet capitalizing off of capitalism. Okay, there you go. And you know, and this RoboCop 2, this movie, it's actually closer to the original movie than the other sequel that came out in 1990 to a popular first movie, being Predator 2. Okay, Predator 2 didn't try to be like the very first Predator, where RoboCop 2 does stay faithful to a lot of the spirit of the first RoboCop. Okay, and I always have to make sure to give Verhoeven, again, the director of the first RoboCop, I always have to make sure to give Paul Verhoeven where his credit is due, due to when it comes to something you unfortunately don't get in movies nowadays: blood squibs. And in case you don't know what I mean by a blood squib right here, allow me. Okay, so in Paul Verhoeven movies, when someone gets shot, they get shot. Okay, when a bullet hits a human in a Verhoeven movie, it's like a big jar of Smucker's strawberry jelly explodes, right? It's glorious, and it always reminds me that I haven't had breakfast yet. Okay. The point being that Kershner did make sure to use blood squibs in RoboCop 2 as well. Okay? Again, going back to maintaining some similarities to the first RoboCop movie, right? Now, he didn't do it, to the level that Verhoeven did, that was going to get his RoboCop movie an X rating if he didn't bring down the Smucker's strawberry jelly a couple of levels down in a couple of scenes, all right? Most notably, the most notable scene I'm talking about is the one where Ed 209 turns poor Mr. Kenny into, well, Smucker's strawberry jam, okay? Now, Kershner also brought back the OCP corporate intrigue, where instead of Bob Morton picking up the football that Dick Jones fumbled to introduce his RoboCop program, we get leggy Juliet Fax, played by Belinda Bauer, trying to create RoboCop 2. Now, she happens to want to use like dead psychotic criminals for her RoboCop models, which is just crazy and stupid and ill-advised, of course. And so when her corporate rivals try to get her fired for it, she just pulls a Kamala Harris and bangs the CEO of OCP to prevent getting fired and accelerate her career, okay? I mean, why stand in the unemployment line when you can lie down and get a promotion instead? I mean, it just makes all the sense in the world. Don't you think? I think so. Absolutely so. All right, let me double check something real quick here, and let me do this. I'm just going to try to do something real quick. I'm going to try to multitask over here to get something done for the show. If I can actually type here, it helps to multitask. If you can actually type, that's for sure. So there you go. What else we got over here? Oh, there we go. Let's do this. All right. And let's do that. There we go. Excellent. Excellent. All right. There we go. Okay. So I was mentioning earlier this segment that I like to call the Brew Review Time. Okay. And I am inspired to do the Brew Review Time segment because I'm getting very parched. Okay. Getting very thirsty. So without further ado. All right, so let's introduce the brew for today here, and this is a little brew called Gog Magog. Yes, Gog Magog. And this comes to us from Lariat Lodge or Lariat Lodge Brewing Company. Okay. And Lariat Lodge Brewing Company is brewed in Colorado. Okay. And this Gog Magog you're looking at is actually a Belgian style golden strong ale. Okay. And it comes to us at 9.9% alcohol by volume with an IBU rating. That stands for International Bitterness Unit. So essentially, how bitter is the beer? Comes to us at a IBU rating of 28, which is quite low. Okay, so all that to say is it's not bitter at all. Okay, so and this is formerly known as the Golden Goliath. Okay, but they obviously changed the name to Gog Magog there, which is kind of fun to say. I like it. I like saying Gog Magog. I dig it very, very much. So just a little bit of like technicalities or technical information about this beer here, okay, is the specialized yeast strain used during brewing gives it a complex flavor profile that makes it slightly fruity, slightly peppery, and pretty smooth, I gotta say. And it doesn't have like some beers, they have like that kind of boozy aftertaste to it. Not the old Gog Magog. So this is not the best beer I've ever had here, but I'm gonna recommend it. But I'm gonna let you know that it is an acquired taste. Okay, it's not one of those. It's not. It's not a beer for the starter crew. Okay, it's not a beer for the uninitiated. You know, to all that is brew, all that is beer right there. Okay, so but also I kind of like the label here. Okay, and it's actually drawn by a local evergreen artist, so that's who makes this particular label that you see right there. So it's very, very eye-catching to say the least right there, okay? So, and then we have like multiple locations for the Lariat Lodge Brewing Company. There's one in Evergreen, and there's one in Littleton there. So if you're in Colorado or if you're visiting Colorado, I'll keep that in mind right there, okay? So, all right. So, let's talk about like how does it taste? Well, you know what? To that end, here, let me grab a drink off this bad boy. Not bad, not bad, not bad at all. So, I'm detecting some coriander in there. There's definitely some brown sugar flavoring in there. So, but very subtle, very subtle. Okay. When I say coriander and brown sugar, I mean very subtle. Okay, it's not overwhelming, overpowering, or anything like that. Okay, so yeah, no one wants to drink liquid C&H brown sugar. I get you. I'm right there with you. Okay, so we're on the same page. Absolutely right there. So, it's not a. I wouldn't call it a light beer. Okay, it's not a crisp light beer. I'm probably not going to have like this in my ice cooler on the bass boat, or I won't be jumping off the riding mower and chilling on the deck with a grog magog or a gog magog here, because it's a little too heavy for that. Okay, I'm gonna be probably drinking this a little bit more in the wintertime here. So, but yeah. So just to give you, I just want to kind of give you some background as far as like what it tastes like, occasions that it would be the best for it, all of that stuff right there. So now, since I'm recommending you, grabbing this beer right here, of course, I'm going to let you know about some food pairing, some foods that you can pair this beer with. Okay, so it goes good with like roasted chicken or duck, pork tenderloin, grilled salmon, steamed mussels. If you're into those, there. If you're on the more sophisticated cultural side, you're into rich cheeses. How about some triple cream brie or some gorgonzola, stuff like that. So yeah, those are some foods that this Gog Magog will pair very well with right there. I could also see it going good with something like kind of a smash burger, something like that. So that would go. I think that would be very good with that there as well. It's going to sound weird, but also like. Out of if anybody ever makes monkey bread, if you've ever had monkey bread, this would go good. I know monkey bread's a dessert, but this actually I think would wash down some monkey bread pretty well there as well. So I think I said as well too many times there. Anyway, but all that to say, I do recommend this particular brew. And yeah, if you want to get your hands on it, like say if you're in the Colorado area, particularly Evergreen, Littleton, Denver, all that stuff, then yeah, just jump on Uber Eats. And I'm sure Uber Eats, especially in Denver, a big area like that, you'll be able to get that delivered to your house or the Open Bar app on your phone. If you are nowhere near the Colorado area, then you'll probably have to go someplace like gopuff.com on that's a website there that specializes in getting like beer in your hands if you live in an area that's nowhere even near where the beer is actually brewed at. So, but you're going to be paying for it there. You're going to be paying for it full show. Okay. Absolutely. But anyway, I know I can detect people. It's my Peter Tingle, my Spidey sense here, and I use that because I think I've still got some residue from Spider-Man Brand New Day on me from last week's review here. But I'm detecting that people are getting a little bored, especially the non-beer drinkers. So it's time to wrap up this brew review time. Okay, and real quick here, let me do this. I just want to let you know about something here that I think you're going to be very happy that I let you know all about here. And this is where I have to remember, like I said, we switched to StreamYard. We switched back to StreamYard. Okay, so we used StreamYard before. So now I'm going to have to remember like how to do all the things that you do in StreamYard. So let me do this here. I'm going to share my screen here. And so it's all kind of coming back to me. There we go. All right. See if we got that. And let's present that. There we go. Let's do this. Nope, that's not going to work. No, let's not do that. Okay, there we go. Aha, there we go. Let's get that looking better. Aha, there we go. That's better. So we got the Movies Merica merch store here. And as you see, we've got a number of different varieties of Movies Merica merch. So we've got T-shirts and hats and drinkware and all that stuff. And so let's get really into it. Let's get into the meat of the Movies Merica merch website here. So our first suite of products here feature the first variation on the Movies Merica logo, and this is the Big Mugs variation of the Movies Merica logo, okay, called the Big Mug. I've just said it. Woo! Man, I don't know how many of these have I had? My God. So yes, this is the Big Mugs variation of the Movies Merica logo. And as you see, we have it on this camo trucker hat here. Just to let you know, there is no purple on that hat, so just to let you know, just would it be in full disclosure, I want to be have a full disclosure on that right there. Be completely honest and open with you there. So anyway, so then we have also kind of different kinds. Can't even talk today. Different types of T-shirts. There we go, Van. You can do it. Different types of T-shirts here with the Big Mugs logo here as well. You've got tank tops. I got a long sleeve. I got a pullover hoodie. I got a windbreaker. All of that good stuff right there. Okay. And then we also have a sports bra here as well. If you know anybody that can pull that off, by all means. Got some hats. And then we're moving on down to the Hollyweird version of the Movies Merica logo, or the Hollyweird version of Movies Merica. And we got T-shirts and tank tops and various clothes, various gear, with that particular type of logo. Now we're getting down to the last, but certainly not least, logo variation or Movies Merica type of logo, and my personal favorite type of Movies Merica logo, the Black Adam type of logo here. And so I like it just because it's very metal, okay? So yeah, we got the T-shirts and tank tops and baseball long sleeves with the Black Adam style of logo there, okay? And then also, finally, down here, we've got drinkware, okay? So, yeah, maybe you're like, hey, Van, I got all the merch. I've got all the merch that you can wear on your back already. But now what I really need is, I like a good cup of Joe. I need a great Movies Merica coffee cup, my man. All right, you know what? You're getting ready to get served, all right? But in a good way. We got this Movies Merica coffee mug right there for you. We got a can-shaped glass. We got this pint glass here as well. We got koozies. And then lastly, we have a way to class up and add some sophistication to your workstation here with these Movies Merica desk mats of different sizes here. So you're not hurting for variety of different Movies Merica merch that you can get all up in here. Okay, so and I'm making it very easy for you to get to this Movies Merica merch website, because the link to it is down in the description, right on down there. So go down there, check this stuff out. Okay, hey, give the gift of Movies Merica to maybe someone you love, maybe someone you're trying to impress, someone that loves movies, whoever. Okay, right there, it's great to give. It makes you feel good, and it makes you feel even better to give Movies Merica. Am I selling you yet? I don't know. I don't know if my sales technique is very effective, but I don't know. We'll see. But enough about that. Enough about Movies Merica merch here. I just wanted to bring that to your attention right there. Okay, so all right, time to move on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let me double check something over here. We got that. All right, we're good to go. All up in this hizzy. Yeah, I love it. All right, so I've got some random thoughts about RoboCop 2. Of course, I've got random thoughts about a lot of things, all right? But my first random thought about RoboCop 2 is don't bother rewinding or fast-forwarding your RoboCop 2 VHS tape to try to find the iconic RoboCop music from the first movie, conducted by the legendary Basil Polidorus. It's not there. You're not going to find it, okay? Now, Polidorus, while we're on the subject of this legend, did classic movie soundtracks like Conan the Barbarian, Red Dawn, Iron Eagle, The Hunt for Red October. Now, Basil Polidorus, he died in 2006, and so did the music for RoboCop 2, since director Irvin Kershner decided to go with someone who'd done movies with Kershner before, okay? And that guy's name is Leonard Rosenman, okay? Now, Kershner also worked with John Williams on The Empire Strikes Back, okay? Now, that would have been a get, okay? If we could have got a John Williams RoboCop 2 score, oh my God, okay? Man, to dream the impossible, RoboCop dream, I tell you. And another random thought I have about RoboCop 2 is, for some reason, they decided to make RoboCop into a robo-stalker in this one, where he does some light to medium paced stalking of his widow. If the writers would have just had a little more imagination, maybe they could have created a robo-girlfriend, or if that's too long, a robo-boo of sorts, right? For poor old lonely RoboCop. They kind of laid the laid the groundwork for this concept late in the movie, where Cain reunites with his human girlfriend Angie, who seems ready and willing for some robo relations, until Cain goes her. Okay, and you'll know what I mean there in the movie. Okay, so that were just a couple of random thoughts I had about RoboCop 2. All right, moving on. Okay, just want to let you guys know that this show you're watching right now, Movies Merica Live, the spoiler-free review show, obviously that's on Sunday afternoons, is not the only Movies Merica show I do each week. I also do a show where I get into spoilers about the movie that I'm talking about for that particular week. Okay, so and that show is called Movies Merica Spoiler Warning, and that comes on Thursday nights. Okay, and so this week on this Thursday night, I will be doing that show all about RoboCop 2. Okay, so hopefully Unfolding Joker will join me again as I do a deeper dive on RoboCop 2. I bust out the suction and the scalpel, and I do an autopsy on RoboCop 2 here. So, and I'm gonna have more things prepared for a more in-depth discussion about it, and hopefully Unfolding Joker can get maybe some friends to join him to talk about some RoboCop 2, and I'll do what I can too to get some RoboCop 2 fans in here to talk some RoboCop 2. There you go. All right. But again, that show is called Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. Probably should let you know what time that comes on Thursday night. Probably not the dumbest thing to do. So on Thursday night, that show comes on at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, and 4 p.m. Pacific. Okay, and I also on that show, I pay tribute to a military veteran and a segment I call the Movie Military Moment. And I just pay tribute to like a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor because I'm ex-mil, I'm ex-military. And then also I do another brew review on that Thursday night show as well. So yeah, it's easy to watch on Thursday night. We provide the links to watch that show on Thursday morning. Okay, so usually if you just go to my Movies Merica account on X or my Movies Merica group or page on Facebook, or just go to Rumble or YouTube and just type in Movies Merica, and in whatever movie I'm reviewing that week. In this case, you would type in Movies Merica RoboCop 2. Okay, it's probably going to be very easy to find because not a whole lot of like live stream shows are reviewing a movie as old as RoboCop 2. Okay, but normally I don't do movies this old either, but my good buddy Unfolding Joker requested that I review RoboCop 2, and I'm more than happy, always more than happy to accommodate those kind of requests right there. So, and again, it had been a while since I've seen RoboCop 2, so it's time for me to revisit it. Okay, so and I just remembered the little kid villain in it. I didn't remember much else, but I remember the little kid villain Hob, and then Tom Noonan playing the bad guy right there. So, but anyway, all that to say is yes, Thursday night's show, Movies Merica spoiler warning, is available for you. Okay, now if you are afraid of spoilers, not afraid of spoilers, that's the wrong way of putting it. If you don't want it to, hear any spoilers, maybe, even though RoboCop 2 came out way back in 1990, you still haven't seen it, you don't want spoilers. Well, the number one thing you should do for the Thursday night show is still turn it on, but mute it, okay? And reason I say that is because it still looks to YouTube or Rumble that you're watching the show, so that helps me out, okay? And that's a way to help me out. That doesn't cost you any money whatsoever, and doesn't cost you barely any time, because all you gotta do is fire the show up, mute it, and then go and do whatever else you need to do. Maybe you need to cook some meatloaf for the fam, or go change your oil, or whatever you gotta do. Okay, but YouTube and Rumble still think you're watching the show. There you go, fantastic, helps me out. I would be touched if you do that, or just not watch the show. There you go. I don't like that option though. I don't like that option. Not at all. So, but anyway, enough about that. Just wanted to let you know about the Thursday night show. All right, moving on. Okay, let's get into a segment that a lot of people, for a lot of people, it is their favorite segment, and this segment is this movie a woke after school special? Okay, now I introduced this segment in here because now if we had no movies that were woke whatsoever, obviously, then I would not have this segment in it, and you would not have to hear me talk about woke at all, because there would be no woke movies, and I would be happier for it. It kind of annoys me that I have to have this segment in here, because we have, occasionally we have a movie that, wants to be woke and not entertaining or informative or whatever, okay? But I should probably explain for maybe some younger folks, like what an after-school special is, okay, since I named the segment, Is This a Woke After-School Special? So real quick, an after-school special were these half-hour shows that came on. I think they started like in the late 70s and went on to like the early 90s, okay? And there were these shows that were there to teach kids valuable lessons, like, don't smoke, don't do drugs, don't drink, some van with no windows rolls up in your neighborhood, and some dirty old man, yells out the window, "Hey kids, I've got free candy. Come on in, come inside my van." Like, don't go in that van. So valuable life lessons for kids to know. But these shows were amazingly corny, very cheesy, okay? But again, They had the right message, just very, very corny. Okay, so that's what an after-school special is. So, 15, 20 years ago, we started occasionally getting movies that, didn't really want to entertain you, or they didn't want to infotain you. They just wanted to sermonize to you about, the best way to adhere to the woke principles, right? So I had to start this. I had to start this segment because I call those movies woke after school specials, not movies. Okay, they're not worthy of being called movies. They're called lame ass woke after school specials. Okay, so let's get back to RoboCop 2. Is RoboCop 2 a woke after school special? Of course not. In 1990, the human populace wasn't quite retarded enough to believe in the teachings of woke, okay? Now, ironically, though, even though I say that, in the second act, RoboCop 2 does actually ridicule what we'd call woke today by turning RoboCop into a sermonizing moron who quotes bumper sticker slogans and lectures people about nutrition and not using profanity, okay? Like at one point, he's basically shoots at this guy's head for smoking, okay? He starts getting into like one of the board members that's behind like the directives to program into RoboCop. One of them was like, "Hey, can we have him speak out on like environmental issues as well?" Okay, so they added directive for environmental issues, all of that stuff. So ironically, even though this is not a woke after school special, it's actually quite the opposite because yes, they have a segment where they turn RoboCop into WocoCop, basically. Okay, right there. So, but anyway, back to why woke wasn't yet a thing back then in 1990. Okay. So the college graduates who would later, move up the corporate ladders at news outlets like CNN, NBC News, ABC News, and CBS News, et cetera, and inject obvious, unapologetically politically biased and woke news coverage into their broadcasts, they didn't quite work at those outlets yet, much less run anything. Okay, maybe in 1990, maybe like a few of them worked in a mailroom or something like that, but they weren't like running the studios or running the outlets, running the news divisions, nothing like that. Okay, there's still that was way too far back. Okay, so same with like woke teachers at schools. All right, they hadn't yet graduated teaching schools to then later be used to infect our educational system with woke and greatly lower test scores by making kids gradually stupider and thus effective, useful idiots for the woke revolution. All right. Now, RoboCop 2 is from an era before paying for and sending Haley, Kaylee, and Bailey to college would return you back 3 robo-commies at Christmas break, preaching at you about how white people suck and non-whites do nothing wrong. Okay, so RoboCop 2 is definitely before that era. Okay, so because nothing like sending your kids to college just to have them come back and hate you, all for $25,000 a year. Okay, so and that's probably a low numeric estimate, that's for sure. So, okay. So let me double check something here real quick. I just want to get something going on, and I think we're good to go there. So, yeah, we're good. We're good. Okay. But again, RoboCop 2, I would say, for my final thoughts on this movie as we, get ready to wrap up this episode is check it out if you haven't checked it out ever before, just like from a good curiosity standpoint there. Make sure, don't watch the first RoboCop right before you watch this one, okay? Unless you want RoboCop 2 to seem even less impressive than it is normally. I mean, again, and and you know what? I'm sure Unfolding Joker, you appreciate my honest opinion on the movie as opposed to me just lying and whatnot right there. So, and that's what you're going to get with Movies Merica and with my opinion. I'm going to give it to you straight, okay? If RoboCop 2 was just as good as the first RoboCop, I would say that, okay? But It is not. Okay. So, but I would, give it like, one, like a little curiosity watch. And also, I just recommend watching movies from this era just so that you can see just how different, in a good way, movies from back then are or were compared to movies nowadays. That is for sure. So, but anyway, just wanted to let you guys know all about that. And again, just want to thank everybody for watching this episode here, whether you're watching it live or you're watching a recording of it. Okay. And if you would follow me on the platforms that I'm on, I am on X under @Movies Merica. I'm on Facebook. I have a Movies Merica page, a Movies Merica group. I'm on YouTube. You just have to type in Movies Merica, and then you'll find me there on YouTube. You probably have to do some scrolling, okay? And I'm also under the Till Death Podcast Network on YouTube, so that it makes it look a little confusing on the YouTube side. But yeah, go ahead and check out my episodes there as well, and you can follow the Till Death Podcast Network on YouTube, of which I'm under on YouTube. I'm on Gab, if you're a Gab guy or a Gab gal, okay? And then I'm also on Instagram as well. So, but anyway, so yeah, if you'd follow me on those platforms, that would be fantastic. If you look me up on Rumble, if you look up Movies Merica on Rumble, you're going to see like 3 Movies Merica accounts. If you would follow me on all 3 of those accounts, that would be fantastic. Okay, so, and anyway, so enough about that as we're getting ready to wrap up this show. And so, again, Unfolding Joker, I want to thank you for watching and thank you for requesting this RoboCop 2 movie for me to review right here, because yes, movie pickings as far as new movies were pretty slim this week here, as far as having anything to review here as far as new movies go. So there we go. So if it looks like I'm stalling because I'm trying to find something here that I need here in StreamYard. And let's go back up here. Let's see. Go down. There we go. There's that. Not at all. What is that? Nope. Okay. And nope, not that. Ooh, I might not even have what I needed here. Wow. Okay. So let's see. Okay, well, this might be over before I even get started there. Yep. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to make do here. Let's see here. Okay. This is what we call a stall job. There you go. All right. Well, it is what it is here. So let's see the outro. Where's that at? Oh, that is not in there. Okay, all right. Well, it wouldn't be switching to a new platform without some turbulence, that's for sure. There, because I'm not seeing anything there. All right, so pretty much I guess I'm just going to have to just end the episode by saying goodbye. There you go. There, so, okay. What is that right there? Anyway, okay, well, I just want to thank everybody for checking out the show here again, follow me. And also, don't be stingy with the Movies Merica. Go ahead and send the link to this episode to all your friends, family, maybe even, your enemies, whoever, and get it done right there, okay? So, and also, like Unfolding Joker did, feel free in the comments or in the live chat on any of my shows to suggest any movies that you want me to review. Could be new, could be old, okay? It doesn't really matter. I will review those suckers for you, as you saw here me do with RoboCop 2, okay? So, all right, well, I'm going to end the show here. I'm going to do it on this new platform, so it may look a little awkward when I do that. So, here we go. And like I always say, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.